Shock Monkey Radio is entertainment for adults, by adults, and the views and opinions expressed here do not reflect upon the sponsors or FXBG Public Radio. For additional information, please refer to the United States Bill of Rights. Stand warned.
Oh yeah, you want to be on camera?
I do want to be on camera. Having a little technical difficulties getting things situated today. But, you know, it's a modular studio. We can do what we want. We can switch things up if we like. And we have. I disagree with the lighting, but EK is the one in charge of that. So, hey, my band, we're having like a big argument right now about what to name the band. And so I want to call us Dodge, Perry, and the Initiatives. The bassist, he's like a punk fan. He wants to call it, what is it, Retch-a-Sketch. The guitarist, she also plays keyboards, is far more like right wing than me, and so she wants to call it Strawberry Abort Cake. Nobody likes that. I don't even want a woman in the band. And the drummer, he wants to call us GI Flow, and it's apparently, you know, my band is mostly made of 8-year-olds I kidnapped from the 80s in my time machine. So these are the band names we got, and I like mine. I like Dodge, Perry, and the Initiatives. I think that's the one to go with. So if you like whichever band you like the best, you go ahead and mention it down below. You know, it's funny because, you know, I kidnapped these guys from the 80s. You know, I had to talk the drummer out of calling him. He wanted to call it MCGI Flow, and I said, no, we're not doing that. We're not even a rap group. Anyway, but what was weird is like I came back and that Paul McCartney and Wings song is gone. Nobody remembers it. You know, love, take me down to the streets. Oh, damn it. I shifted to another reality. Everyone does know it. Okay. Is that your phone? Anyway, welcome to Shock Monkey Radio. I'm your host, the Madman. I want to remind you that I have a Patreon. Go to patreon.com/shockmonkeyradio. Become a patron today. I would appreciate that very much. You can also send me money through Cash App. Use the hashtag shockmonkeyradio, all one word. You can also follow me on social media over here on the Twitters. It's at Denalitsaw. That's the word wasteland spelled backwards. I was really into T.S. Eliot. I guess I still am. At wasteland spelled backwards on Twitter, and on Instagram, SLRobbins13. Yeah. I got to talk about Facebook friends. Anyone who watches this show is a Facebook friend. I've got to put you on notice. You may have noticed that I've gotten strange comments from strangers on several of my posts. Now, here's the thing about doing this show. I'm very public in what I do, and I know there's people watching me. All right? I don't know who they are. I have my hunches. But just be warned that, you know, things may change. Probably around November or something like that. You know, I don't want to be an activist, but, you know, if push comes to shove, it may have to come to that. And especially when it comes to like the way, it's not like anything about me will change. It's the way people's attitudes towards content like mine will change. And so, I just want to let you know that, you know, I get these weird comments sometimes on Facebook. It's like from strange chick. They count 6 months old and she's got 3 pictures and they're all like, you know, and she's doing a long 2-paragraph post on one of my posts saying, oh, I really like your content. I tried to send you a couple friend requests. I wish you'd become my friend and stuff like that. And if you have any sense at all, if you watch this show at all, you realize it's like, there's no way a hot chick is interested in me. Okay. There could be a hot chick interested in me. I'm just not that interested in me. Anyway. Yeah, that's your phone, bro. So just be warned, stand warned, as I say, because, you know, things may change on Facebook. I've told my family, it's like, you may want to unfriend me if stuff gets hairy, because I don't know what's going to happen. It's going to be nuts. What is today? August 14th? 14 August 24. I was thinking, hey, you remember, like, what was it, like, how long ago? Well, way back when, you remember way back when, I don't know if you remember, when Trump got shot? What was that, how long ago was that? That was nigh on a month. That was nigh on a month ago when Trump got shot. All right? And I know for some reason people are forgetting that, and they're not mentioning it, and they're just so filled with the joy of Kamala. Anyway, and so I was thinking about Trump and how he's given more to this country than I have at this point. When he served as president for 4 years, I consider that service, like service in the military. Like spending 4 years as a president of the United States, 18-hour days at least, 18 to 20-hour days, every day for 4 years, is service to the country, if you ask me. And so after Trump finished his presidency, I say, okay, I have given just as much to this country as Trump has. All right? But now Trump has been shot. Now Trump has bled for this country, and I haven't. Trump's more of a patriot than me. And for some reason, that pisses me off. Because he's some rich asshole who apparently dodged the draft. People do actually have foot problems. When I was in the Navy, one of the smartest guys in the division. He was quite fit, but he couldn't stand for any length of time. He had bad arches and stuff like that, and couldn't walk without being extreme pain. He ended to get a medical discharge, and that happens, But I've never been shot. You know what I mean? I've never been shot at. Well, I may have been. I may have been shot at, but I was in the Navy. So, I would have been sleeping in best sleep I had in my life was in the Navy. I'm sleeping in my wrecks. Some jackass shoots a missile. This is highly unlikely any place I've been. Some jackass shoots a missile at my ship. The phalanx system goes, tracks, and I'm just laying there in my rack. I was like, oh, the guy in the rack below me farts. Hey, quit farting. That's how I would have experienced that if I had been shot at. But I highly doubt that I have been. And it kind of pisses me off that Trump has given more to this country than I have. And you know what? He won't even get a Purple Heart. I looked that up. I said, did Reagan get a Purple Heart? I think he should. I think they should get one. It's like there is a reason why the Secret Service protect the president even after they're out of office. Because they're still a major player in the party. They're still a major player in politics. And so that's why the Secret Service keeps with them, even if they give all the crappy girls who can't run or find their holsters. You know what I mean? So where was I? Trump, give him more in this country. Shoot, I lost my train of thought. Anyway, so the Purple Heart. Reagan didn't get a Purple Heart. I think Trump should get a Purple Heart because, after all, you're the president. You're the commander-in-chief of the armed forces. I think they should get a Purple Heart. Anyway, that's just me. Why not? You're the commander-in-chief. First of all, if you've been active duty military, you understand that the National Guard is not the military. All right, it's very much like the military, but it's not quite the same thing. They're kind of like reservists that way. And in fact, many of them are like reservists in the National Guard. It's funny because when I was active duty and you get like National Guard or like the reservists come in, and they're very casual. They're very civilian. They'll talk to each other with first names and stuff like that, even if they're officers and junior enlisted. They're using first names. They're hanging out, drinking together and stuff like that. That's called fraternization in active duty. All right. So the National Guard, first of all, isn't even really active duty military. It's still service, and 24 years of service, which is what Tim Walz has served in the National Guard. 24 years of service is 6 times as much service than I put in. However, was he ever shot at? I doubt it. All right. Was he ever shot? Highly doubt that. All right. So Trump has given more to this country than Tim Walz. And Tim Walz has given more than I have. And that's the simple truth of it. And as far as I'm concerned, if you spend over 20 years in the military, and you realize, like, my knees hurt, I'm getting old. He had already been planning to run for office anyway. You find out your unit's going to be deployed, and you're just like, I'm going to put in my retirement paperwork. I think after 20 years of service, you have every right to do that. Understand, I do not like Tim Walz. I do not like his policies. I do not like him as a politician or as a leader of Minneapolis, or Minnesota, excuse me. Governor of Minnesota. Isn't he? Governor? Anyway. And so I have to be honest, it's like people want to say like stolen valor, and it's true that he did serve. It is true that he did serve. But here's the thing, it's like I never came out of the Navy saying I was a Navy SEAL. In fact, every time everybody asked me, it's like, oh, you served? What'd you serve in? And I said, in the Navy. And they're like, Navy SEALs? I never said, yeah, I was a Navy SEAL. I never did that. But the first thing people come out with, oh, you're in the Navy? Navy SEALs? That's the next thing out of their mouth, usually. And so I just respond honestly, and I laugh, and I say, do I look like I have ever been in shape enough to be a Navy SEAL? You know what I mean? And it's just kind of the truth about the military is like a lot of what people know from the military is like the stuff you see in movies. And the unfortunate thing about movies about the military is that like Navy SEALs and infantry, they get all the screen time, you know, because they're the real ones putting lead on target. You know what I mean? The communications guy who's fixing the people's emails, that doesn't make for a compelling movie. But I never said I was a Navy SEAL just to mess with somebody. All right, I wouldn't lie about that because I live in Virginia. Running across a real Navy SEAL is a high probability. Right? I do not want to face one and him call me out for lying about my military service. I did serve in the Navy, but I was never a Navy SEAL. I was never even shot at. Trump has been shot at, and I doubt Tim Walz has been shot at. So I think it is stolen valor because I think that if you served in the military and you know that what you're saying steals the credit from somebody else who probably died or could have died. And that is morally wrong. And that's why you shouldn't be vice president or even in politics, especially with what you did in Minneapolis? Minnesota? Yeah, Minneapolis. Just let them burn down a police station. They deserve it. Anyway, that was an interesting little rant, I think. What do you think? Anyway, how are we doing on time? 18, okay. All right, well, let me skim through the news. You know, sometimes it will come up to me and start conversations about horses. And it's because of my obsession with horses and the way I talk about them all the time. And somebody will like say, hey, man, you never mentioned this. You remember that time in Game of Thrones where the mountain pulled out the sword and chopped the horse in half? And I was like, yeah, I very much remember that scene. Obviously, I remember that scene. It's like the biggest highlight of the first season, I think. And then there are other people. There are other people who come up to me and say, how can you be happy that Artax died in the Swamp of Sadness? And I'm like, you know, it's just a horse. It's not like it was even a main character. All right? What did he do? What did the horse do? It's not like he even bit a bad guy in the movie. You know what I'm saying? All he did was take Atreyu, I don't know, a third of the way on his quest before giving into the sadness and dying like a weepy little bitch. You know what I mean? All right? So I'm like, quit crying about Artax. You know what I mean? I mean, Tybalt slays Mercutio and no one gives a shit. You know what I mean? 'Tis not as deep as a well, nor as wide as a church door, but 'twill serve. But you got something to say about horses. You know what? A plague on both your houses. Too early in the afternoon for Shakespearean references? Want to do some movie reviews? Star Trek 4, The Voyage Home. Like I spoke last week, I think it was last week, about... I'm sorry.
That was the right image, right?
Yes, that is the right image. It's just that Spock's goofy headband. Anyway, like I said, I know he's hiding the ears. Anyway, we'll get to that. We'll get to all that. Like I said last week, it's like the 1, 3, and 5 are terrible. You need to be tripping balls to enjoy those movies. But 2, 4, and 6 are pretty good. So I did 2 last week. I'm going to do 4 this week, and you can guess what I'm doing next week. All right. And it's not like I even watched them recently. I've just seen them enough. Because I'm a Trekkie. I'm sorry. I do like it. Unfortunately, this is the worst of those 3 good movies. 4 is the worst of 2, 4, and 6. Excuse me. And so, you know, it's got a real hippie premise. Save the whales, man. Oh, the whales are extinct in our future, so we gotta go back in time. We gotta slingshot around the sun and travel through time. Listen, with a person with a working time machine, I don't want to hear that kind of nonsense in a sci-fi movie. Science fiction. That's not how time works. Time exists everywhere other than in our system. You know what I mean? Anyway, and the whole hippie nature of this movie is it just reeks of Leonard Nimoy and his influence. He put on the headband to go there, and it's a story where they steal. It's kind of fun. They steal a Klingon bird of prey, use its cloaking device to go back in time to save the whales. Kind of low stakes thing, but hey, it's a fun little romp where the Trekkies get to go visit San Francisco. And so to hide his ears, Leonard Nimoy puts on his drum circle headband. Hey man, we got to save the whales, man. Hey, we're definitely going to save the whales, man. Hey, you got any more tabs? Hey man, let me buy some more tabs off you, man. I want to trip balls tonight. And that's what Leonard Nimoy is. He's just a big freaking hippie. And he was so happy he got to dress in his human clothes for this movie. You know what? If you don't get it, I do not like Leonard Nimoy. All right, so I hope is that going out on the internet, what you're doing? Or are you switching oh, I see. It looks better for me.
Yes.
I gotcha. Now I look less weird. Anyway.
It was definitely messy.
No, you're like, now you want to argue about the lighting? Oh, okay. Get ready for the news. Or the next picture you're going to have to show. All right. Thank you. You're very sweet. All right, so, the slingshot around the sun. But, when it comes to this movie, if you don't take it seriously, and you shouldn't take it seriously, it's actually quite a fun romp. It's kind of like, it's almost like Muppets Take Manhattan. In many ways. In fact, now I think about it, it's a lot like the Muppets Take Manhattan. It's just with a sci-fi overhaul and no songs. No songs. I think I'm going to have to include that in the star rating. If there was a song, like Spock starts something, with his drum circle, Together again, Captain. Gee, it's great to be together again, Captain. No feeling feels like that. Feeling together again. And then Nichelle Nichols, she comes out, and she can sing. She can actually sing. And she together again. Ain't it great to be together again? And, you got Chekhov going in. It's because no feeling feels like that feeling. I would have given it 2 more stars if it was Muppets Takes Manhattan. Star Trek crossover. After all, like they did the pigs in space. They could do it. Anyway, what I'm saying is that at those 2 movies, Star Trek 4, The Voyage Home, and The Muppets Take Manhattan have the same emotional depth. You know what I mean? They're on the same level in terms of star rating, and they're on the same level in terms of depth. Or shallowness, I should say. But I would have liked to have seen them sing. All right? But I mean, like Trekkies Take San Francisco, no, that doesn't roll off the tongue. Trekkies Take, what do they call it, the city? Trekkies Take San Fran. Ooh, they'll never get views. Frisco, something in Frisco. No, they'll hate that too. They're so sensitive about San Francisco, and it's a shithole. All right, anyway, 8 of 13 stars for both Muppets Take Manhattan and Star Trek 4, The Voyage Home, 1986 movie. It's actually a fun little sci-fi comedy. Yep, Star Trek 4, not Muppets Take Manhattan. I don't know, it could be a sci-fi comedy. If Muppets were like actually living creatures, because everyone reacts to the Muppets like they're living, breathing creatures. And like there was like a time where they had to start including these living puppets in society. And maybe that's what this movie is. It's like nobody wants to see your weird, whatever weird creatures you are. It's like if Fraggles were real. People would freak out. Anyway. Good sci-fi movie, low stakes. It's just the whales after all. And it's a chill movie. Together again. Let's talk about Nefarious. Yep, another movie. A 2023 film called Nefarious. So I did no research on this movie before watching it. And first of all, it's an excellent performance by Sean Patrick Flannery. He's getting kind of long in tooth, as they say. But he did an incredible acting job. Anyway, the psychiatrist is sent to go see this condemned man to find out if he's actually possessed by the devil or insane because he's about to be executed. So I was watching this movie thinking, wow, this guy's talking about demon possession, being possessed by a demon, and he's kind of accurate about how demons are supposed to be. I was like, this is incredibly accurate. I remember reading stuff about this in the Bible and other research I've done. And so, and like, this is quite biblically accurate. And then the demon, played by Sean Patrick Flannery, mentioned an abortion taking place in the lawyer's life as it's a murder. And I was like, oh, this wasn't made in Hollywood. It's Sean Patrick Flannery, but this wasn't made in Hollywood. And an abortion is murder. And then in the third act, they kind of gave themselves away because the whole story of everything that happens in the movie comes out, and so they get the most hard-hitting and famous journalist they could find, Glenn Beck. Yeah. Playing himself in the movie as Glenn Beck. And so I said, oh, now I get it. Now I understand the movie. You know, it's like, I'm Glenn Beck. I help finance this. And no, I want to be in the movie. Because people should watch Glenn Beck. And, you know, they shouldn't. His show's terrible compared to mine. Why do people watch him and not me? Anyway. Despite all that, with the source of this movie, and it's just trying to, it's trying to portray a demon correctly, it's actually it's a really good movie. All right. In fact, it's quite possibly the best depiction of possession and demons I've ever seen. The problem with the movie, though, is that they clearly saved money on the sets because most of it takes place in that room. All right. And most of it is a conversation between these two people. Like 95% of the movie is a conversation between these two people. And it is really tough to make something scary and suspenseful in such a setting and with just dialogue between two people, a psychiatrist and a condemned man possessed by a demon. And it's incredibly hard to do that, to put suspense and fear into something like that, but they pull it off. All right. If I was to give a star rating to the script is 13 of 13 stars. However, the movie is 10 of 13 stars. The writing was great, but I don't know, some CGI, something else to break up the monotony of this, two guys in a room talking. I don't know, they could have done something with special effects, like just cut to a clip of an angel fighting a demon or something like that. Slow motion CGI graphic. You can do that? Come on. Pretty good flick. Let's get into the news worth knowing. You're going to have to scale everything down, or will it fit in that new green screen thing? See, this is the studio here. We got actual thingies that stop sound and stuff like that. Now we wrapped one of these things in green screen. Ooh, our studio is our bitch. Modular. We can do a lot here. And we can still pull down the whole green screen if we want anytime. Alrighty, let's go into the first story here. 2:30, perfect timing. Ex-federal prosecutor who charged George Floyd rioters rips radical Governor Walz for letting our city burn. Oh, cool. Out of Minneapolis, a former federal prosecutor in Minneapolis who prosecuted George Floyd rioters told Fox News Digital that Governor Tim Walz Walz's record as governor on that issue and several others, including fraud, make him unfit for a promotion to the vice president of the United States. Quote, Kamala Harris is trying to change Minnesota and our country into San Francisco and California. And we definitely don't want that. And she just doubled down, unless you can export the weather too. Anyway, we definitely don't want that. I'll go on with his quote. And she just doubled down and made the most radical leftist presidential ticket in American history. Former Assistant U.S. Attorney, the GOP nominee of Minnesota's 2nd Congressional District, Joe Tirab, told Fox News Digital. Tirab, who served in the Marines and whose father is an immigrant from Sudan, told Fox News Digital that Walz's handling of the devastating 2020 riots that destroyed hundreds of buildings and caused hundreds of millions of dollars in damage shows he is not suited to become vice president. I went on to say, I was a federal prosecutor for 4 years, and I tried to put bad guys behind bars all across the state of Minnesota, and you had Tim Walz who couldn't lift a finger during the George Floyd riots for multiple days, letting our city burn, literally, he said. And then at the same time, you have Kamala Harris getting people to donate into this Minnesota Freedom Fund that bailed out criminals who then weeks later committed murder. And my job during that time was actually put to the arsonists, was to actually put these arsonists behind bars. He continued, I actually charged 2 criminals who threw Molotov cocktails in a courthouse right here in the district that I'm running in. I charged 2 people who tried to burn down a small business. And so it's unfathomable to me. Wow, I have trouble with the word. Unfathomable to me that happened. And we can't let that happen to our country if Tim Walz and Kamala Harris are in control. So you get the idea. Hopefully you know what these people have been doing for the past few years, since like the last 4 years. You know, if you're going to support a candidate like Kamala Harris, if you're going to support a candidate like Tim Walz, hopefully you've looked into their record and the things they've done. And Governor Walz was presiding over Minnesota during the George Floyd riots, and he didn't do anything about it. He let it happen. Kamala Harris wanted to bail out these rioters. And if you think that they were doing the right thing, you can get the hell out of my country right now. Because you're insane. You're insane. Riots are riots. And if you think that, like, oh, well, they're pissed off black people, who's to get in their way? The law should get in their way. It's like, well, the law is racist. It's like, no, it's not. The law is the law. Burning down buildings, bad for business. Bad for governments, bad for your communities, bad for the neighborhoods, bad for people. This is a society. I would like it to continue. How about you? And this is why we need to be serious when it comes to crime and law. All right? You want to pretend like Kamala Harris wants to pretend like she's like, I locked up a bunch of people in California. I'm so tough on crime. And like, get bent. Look at her record. A month ago, everyone, both sides of the aisle were making fun of her laugh, were making fun of the goofy stuff she says. All of a sudden, she gets tapped, shoved into this role without anybody voting for her, and she's gone radio silent, as we used to say in the Navy. Radio silent. Because as soon as that laugh appears again, as soon as she gives a word salad talking point, unburdened by the things that have been. When she starts doing that kind of stuff again, people are going to, oh, right, she is a moron. Let's go on to the next story. End rant. All right, I don't watch ESPN, so I'm going to mess up these names, and I don't care. ESPN star Kirk Herbstreit is done giving any S's about pushback over stance about men and women's sports. So I'm going to go ahead and turn off the censor. I'm going to read what he said. ESPN star Kirk Herbstreit weighed in on the debate over transgender athletes playing in women's sports last week when he was asked on social media, do men belong in women's sports? He made his stance clear, of course not. He explained on Tuesday in an interview on Outkick with Don't At Me with Dan Dakich, that he didn't give a shit about what the reaction was going to be. I'm done giving any shits at all about it. It's almost like there are two different sets of rules. And if you have a view that's a little more traditional, or I'm a Christian guy, it's like there's a different set of rules for that viewpoint, he explained. It's hard to just turn the other cheek time after time after time. That's three. That's only three. Well, I guess we each only have 4 cheeks. So after 4, it's on, right? You can fight. You got that one, got that one, that one, baby. You got that one, baby. I'm ashamed of myself for doing that. Anyway, he went on to say, so yeah, I don't really care. I don't care at all, which is a good thing. I think it's good and healthy to get to that place compared to, oh gosh, I don't want to get canceled. I don't want to get people upset. I don't give a shit. I'm just going to say certain things. My problem is I have a temper. So if I get to that point and if the fuse gets lit, let it go, and then I'll explode and I'll say something. That I have to be careful of. He said he didn't receive any blowback from ESPN. And he talks about his reaction to people's comments. You know, you shouldn't give a shit. And you shouldn't be giving any shits about what other people think of you. You know, it seems like one of those most basic things that people are refusing to learn. You know, no matter what you want to be. You know, if you want to be a cowboy and people it's like, hey, we don't want any cowboys in our family. We're all accountants. Come back here, Mordecai. No, I'm going to give up accounting. I'm going to talk with this accent from now on, and I'm going to wear a big hat and be a cowboy. No one's going to stop you doing that. If you want to dress up like a lady and you're not one, generally people are not going to stop you from doing that. They may make fun of you. They may laugh at you. They may call you. They may say things to you like you'll always be a man. But you need to grow a thick skin. Grow up out of grade school. People can have opinions. People are that varied. They are that varied that we have people like men dressing up like women, cats and dogs living together, mass hysteria. You know, it's a crazy, multicolored world we all live in. And generally people don't give a shit about you. And you shouldn't give a shit about them or what they think or what they say. You want to live that way, fine. I don't think you should be chopping parts of your body off. That's just for your own safety. That's what I feel like. I feel like there's a bunch of toddlers running around with scissors. Anyway, let's talk about another toddler. Nikki Haley has a blunt message for Trump, GOP, and Kamala Harris as Kamala Harris gains momentum. Quit whining. So, former GOP presidential candidate Nikki Haley weighed in on the state of the race, 2024 race, on Tuesday as Vice President Kamala Harris gains momentum in key battleground states ahead of the November election. Haley told Fox News chief political anchor Brett Baier on special report Republicans and former President Trump should focus on policy and messaging instead of crowd sizes at rallies, Harris's race, and attacks on her intellect. You can't win on these things. The American people are smart. Treat them like they are smart, she said, and it's not about her. It's about the American people. Talk to them and let them know you need their vote. The former South Carolina governor also encouraged Republicans to quit whining about Harris and quit complaining that she hasn't given a formal sit-down interview since replacing President Biden at the top of the ticket. We knew it was going to be her. She was not going to give an interview. They're going to hold out as long as they can. That's their right. They can do it. That doesn't mean we can't talk about what she believes in. And we should be getting out there and doing that, said Haley. You know, here's the thing about Nikki Haley. Never liked her. Never wanted to vote for her. You know why? Because she's a woman. As far as I'm concerned, she's on the Kamala train too. All right? And, I mean, you know, when Trump gives a talk, you know what I mean? He talks about everything. He talks about anything that comes in his head. I think he likes talking more than I do. You know? And he'll talk about so many things, and the media will, they'll comb through it and try to find a couple things to take out of context or something like that, just to latch on to. You know, he's going to say a lot of things. Some of it's going to be whining. You may consider some of the things I've said today whining. But you know what? You can get bent, Nikki Haley. Didn't you cheat on your husband? Am I wrong? It seems to be sticking in my memory like a song from a 1984 Muppet movie. You know what? You can call it whining all you want, but we're sick and tired. I mean, we're fighting back. We're fighting back against the nonsense that's going on out here. And just like a woman, he's like, oh, we got to soften our position. He talks about policy, but he also talks about other things. I understand the point about her race is irrelevant. You know, it's like, who cares? You know, it's a weird country we live in, you know. Anyway, let's talk about other Democrats like Nikki Haley. So, Chicago anti-Israel DNC protest groups handed loss by a federal judge just day before the start. This is one of those articles that makes me go, Federal judge in Chicago handed down anti-Israel protest groups a loss this week, rejecting their request for more space to protest the Gaza counteroffensive outside the Democratic National Convention next week. 4 groups seeking to organize protests, the Alliance Against the Racist and Political Oppression and Political Repression, the Anti-War Committee, and Students for a Democratic Society at UIC, and the U.S. Palestinian Community Network, asked for parade permits, giving them authorization to march over an expanded area. The judge shut them down last week, rejecting their claim that the city-preferred protest route violates their First Amendment rights. They want to take their protest nearer to the United Center, one of the 2 locations for the DNC next week, and through a street that the Secret Service and local law enforcement planners have chosen to block off during the convention as part of a secure perimeter. The judge denied all 4 permits and told the groups to use a different route proposed by the city of Chicago, according to court filings. The group sued the city and its transportation commissioner, alleging First Amendment violations, and asked for a preliminary injunction and the permission to march closer to the United Center. Judge ruled against them Monday. Chicago lawyers told the judge that the city had already granted concessions to the organizers, including allowing them to get close to the United Center, one of 2 places where the convention will be held, Fox 32 Chicago reported. I want to go back to the headline of this. Chicago anti-Israel DNC protest groups handed loss by federal judge just days before start. That is a terrible headline, Fox News. They asked for an inch. They're going to ask for a mile. That's a headline. And that's the whole point about appeasing these Muslims and Democrats. All right? When you start appeasing them, they're going to want more. They want to walk through the area where the Secret Service has blocked off the roads for the VIPs to come through safely. They want the right to be able to march through there. They already have an area. They already have a route, but they want more. They want more. And I think it's funny that even Chicago Democrats are like, nah, you're out of your mind. And that's the point. Those people are out of their minds. These anti-Israel, pro-Palestinian people are crazy. They are crazy because they do not understand what they are supporting. All right? It's the same thing with these Democrats and the Kamala Harris train. You do not understand what you are supporting. And that's what they're counting on for a win. Your ignorance. Anyway. 2 more stories. I'm going to get cheered up. It was like, we were talking about Muppets not too long ago. Jeez, man, you're bringing me down, dude. Get in my drum circle, man. Leonard's here, man. There we go. That's how you let go of anger. Screaming's good, too. Throwing rocks at trees. When I was a kid, that was like, I'd do that. Just throw rocks at trees for an hour. Some would say that, you entertained your anger impulse. And it's like, no, I think that kind of helped. All right, let's go on this next story with another horrible headline. Shock! Monkey Radio. Shock! Pennsylvania game machine displays living prize along with stuffed animals for kids. Now, first of all, anybody who knows how to read English, you don't even have to have taken a journalism class. You understand that there is one word that belongs to me in this headline, and it doesn't belong in this headline. That word, shock, belongs to me. You stole my word. I want it back, please. But you didn't even need it for the headline. Pennsylvania Game Machine displays a living prize along with stuffed animals for kids. Lengthy, but that works without the shock. You see what I'm talking about with headlines? Act like you're, I don't know, a professional news organization. And make terse headlines. I don't know. You think I went... you think I don't know, missed my calling? I should have been like J. Jonah Jameson. Your spelling is atrocious. Anyway, let's talk about this news story because I'm sure you understand. What the hell are they talking about? So employees at a miniature golf course in Duncansville, Pennsylvania, were met with an unusual sight after they noticed that a prize was moving inside the claw machine at the Meadows Family Fun mini golf venue. Are you looking for the pictures?
Yeah, I forgot that I didn't have the thing.
It's just stock. I think it's a stock picture of a... Animal officials were called on the scene when the mini golf course workers found not a stuffed animal, but a living one. Officials at the Pennsylvania Game Commission shared the discovery on Instagram, posting photos of a woodland creature. Officials shared images of a groundhog hiding in between the stuffed prizes inside the machine. State Game Warden SGW Salvador Zufudo was sent to investigate and help remove the stuck groundhog. Was he stuck though? Or was he? Do you think he really liked it there? I bet he really liked it there. Groundhog had weighed as much as 11 pounds, according to U.S. Fish and Wildlife Services. Groundhogs live near rocky outcrops from valley bottoms to alpine tundra, and they avoid dense forest. Then why'd you say woodland creature? Lowland animals are surprisingly quick. They're good tree climbers. Yeah. You know what a groundhog is, right? A whistle pig? There's like 8 names for them. Whistle pig, groundhog. Is it hedgehog? No. Groundhog, whistle pig, there's another one. Anyway. Officials called the vending machine company to unlock the machine and safely remove the woodchuck back to its habitat unharmed. Officials joked that next time they hope the groundhog would just play a game with the tokens and not try to cheat to win a prize. Hardy har har. I reached out for comment. Why do you even write sentences like that? That doesn't make sense. We reached out to comment and nobody said anything. You know what's? He got into the machine and he's like, "Oh, this is comfy." You know he did, and he's like just fell asleep, or maybe like he came in there like after hours and he fell asleep. This is comfy. I fell asleep, and then like the mini golf course starts spinning up, customers start coming through, and then he pulls the ET hiding routine. You know, just a stuffed animal. Then the thing moves overhead. And yeah, give up the game like that. Why do I find them so cute? Like chipmunks, squirrels, groundhogs. Do you find them cute? But rats, they're disgusting. Rats are disgusting. I don't know. It seems weird even to me. All right, you want to hear? I once caught a fish this big. Except this guy did catch a fish that big. So a fishing record set by a West Virginia angler who used his 3-year-old daughter's $10 pink rod. Do you smell it? Smells like BS to me. Smells like BS to me. So a man in Wayne County, West Virginia, caught a state record channel catfish in the pond on his father's farm, private property, in South Charleston using an unexpected rod. John Tyler Rutherford reeled in a 43.51 inch long, 46.7 pound channel catfish, according to a press release from West Virginia Division of Natural Resources. Rutherford reportedly reeled in the big fish on July 21st by, see, I have to correct your spelling errors, by using his daughter's fishing rod and worms as bait. I got my daughter a little $9.99 pink rod. She's 3 and she can reel them in, but she can't cast it out. So I cast it out for her and I was holding the rod and she was sitting on my lap. He told the West Virginia Outdoors. Common length for a channel catfish is 22 inches. The longest maximum reported length being 52 inches, according to the U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service. West Virginia's incredible fishing opportunities continue to amaze and attract anglers near and far, as this record-breaking achievement showcases the world-class fishing adventures the state has to offer. Governor Jim Justice said in WVDNR's release. The last West Virginia record for channel catfish was set in 2022 for length and in 2023 for weight. Rutherford's catch topped them both. Director Brett McMillan congratulated him for this outstanding catch. This remarkable achievement highlights the superior Congratulations on catching fish in our incredible inland fisheries here in scenic West Virginia.
Fisheries.
I don't know, but that's what they're saying. Congratulations. You are using bait bought and sold in West Virginia by hardworking West Virginian people. Continue using our parks and recreation services. All right. So, could you bring picture up the catfish? Because catfish fight. And a 46? 46.7 pounds. A 46.7 pound catfish is going to fight like crazy. And anybody who knows anything about those $9.99 rods you get for little kids, they snap real easy. You know what I mean? And what is it, like 5 pound test line? For $9.99, you're not getting that great quality, you know what I mean? Great quality line. That great quality rod and reel. Yeah. If it's not too much trouble. It's the last story, it doesn't matter. So, I mean, I'm calling BS. That's a lot of catfish to pull in on your Snoopy pole. You know what I mean? So I got to call BS on it. It's huge. It's a catfish and catfish fight. I understand. Look, your daughter, like when she's 3 years old, I understand, like, you catch the fish with your rod, but she's sitting in your lap. It's her catch. So you tell them it's your daughter's pole. She caught it. My little girl caught a fish. Caught this big fish. Why not? Why not? With her little pink pole. I'm sorry. I don't believe it. You should be truthful and say she was holding my pole. That's what I mean. It's like those $9.99 ones. They were 5-10 pound test. This is almost 50 pounds. God, look at that maw. Look at that gaping ebony maw. Words are fun. Anyway, this is going to be the end of the show. I want to remind you again, you can follow me on social media here at Denaltsaw on Twitter. That's the word wasteland spelled backwards on Twitter. At SLRobins13 on the Instagrams. I also have a Patreon. Patreon.com/shockmonkeyradio. On one word, become a patron today. I would very much appreciate it. Or you can send me money through Cash App. Use the hashtag shockmonkeyradio. All one word. This has been Shock Monkey Radio. I'm the Madman. We're together again, and I love you.